But I want to bring in Sarah Carter, longtime friend of this program, who was just officially confirmed as Donald Trump's drug czar. Anyway, it's great to have you, Sarah. Thanks for being with us. You know, all the time that you have spent down on the border reporting for us, I know we had you on for a very, very different reason tonight, but you see what's unfolding in Venezuela. You spent all that time with law enforcement and ICE agents, as I have. Do you not have the same suspicion that I do? I've never heard of an officer shooting somebody in the leg. I wonder, with all that's happened, if they are now afraid to follow through on their training, which maybe worked out this time, but it may not work out in the future.
Yeah, absolutely, Sean. This kind of rhetoric, the rhetoric that we've seen from Tim Walz and others in the Democratic Party that are pushing for these protests, that are having these people go out into the streets. They're putting everybody's life in danger, the lives of the officers, the lives of those that are out there protesting. And, you know, hesitation is an enemy of law enforcement, right? You're going to lose your life when you hesitate. We've seen what's happened with Venezuela. First, I want to say thank you so much for having me on the show. As President Trump's drug czar, first and foremost is the president's duty to save American lives and protect the national security of the United States of America. And that is what we are doing. This is a whole of government approach, Sean. This is working with Pam Bondi, the Department of Justice, Terry Cole over at DEA, working with State Department, Marco Rubio. This is a whole of government approach. We work for the most important, the most decisive, the greatest president in modern history that does what he says, means what he says, and is taking bold action, action that is so bold that it is causing the geopolitical shift like we've never seen in modern history. We're seeing people emboldened in Iran standing up. We're seeing what's happening in Venezuela. We're watching what's happening in Mexico with President Sheinbaum, across Central America as well. People are changing the trajectory because of the decisive policies of this president, going in and taking out migrants, many of whom are charged with felonies. They have criminal backgrounds. Some of them, we don't even know who they are, what they are here for. You know, being able to vet them is very important, which is the reason why we're looking at the vetting system now. We weren't able to vet many of the people that were coming through. Many of these governments, Sean, as you well know, are non-functional governments. They are non-working governments. So it's very difficult to vet the people that are coming into our country, whether that is from Somalia, Iraq, Venezuela, and Sean, the drug trade. This is across the board. We have seen the expanse with the Belt and Road Initiative, what's happened with precursor chemicals and President Trump's decisive actions against China. We're seeing what's happened with Iran and Central America and South America, and why the president has put the focus on the Western Hemisphere. These are so important. These steps are so important. But what we're watching unfold right now with these protests, what we're seeing is this rhetoric from the left. It is very dangerous. It is very volatile. They are not getting the truth to the American people. And the American people have been the most affected by what has happened. We have lost hundreds of thousands, well, millions. If you think about it, people with drugs pouring into our country, that same money, by the way, goes to terrorist organizations overseas. Those same terrorist organizations use that money to operate against our intelligence apparatus and our military. And now we're seeing our law enforcement on the streets of America trying to not only get rid of the bad guys, but they're being impeded by leftists who are pushing people to go out into the streets and protest them. This is a very volatile and dangerous situation. I want you to know, Sean, we back the blue. We back our law enforcement, and very much so does the president.
Sarah, stay right there. I want to bring in our own Bill Melugin. He's on the phone with us. He broke this story of this shooting. If you're just joining us, a shooting tonight in Minneapolis involving ICE once again. According to Bill's earlier report and Alexis McAdams, there was a Venezuelan that was being apprehended by ICE, apparently took a shovel and was about to assault or was assaulting ICE agents, shot in the leg. Apparently he's not it's not a very severe injury, according to our sources as of now. Bill, you broke this story. What else can you tell us about it?
Yeah, Sean, well, as you can tell from the live images, it's starting to get pretty spicy out there with the protesters. I'm told by a source, a federal source, that several ICE vehicles have had their tires slashed right now. Everything I'm getting is very preliminary, but what I'm told is earlier this evening, North Minneapolis, ICE was trying to make contact with a target who I'm told is a Venezuelan. At some point during that interaction, I'm told that that target had a shovel and assaulted an ICE agent or swung that shovel at an ICE agent, and in response to that, shots were fired. I'm told that target was shot, but is okay. I'm told he's in custody, he's stable, he's okay, he's not dead, just suffered gunshot wounds. But now you're starting to see the response to it, right? Protesters are starting to show up. You hear the whistles, you see the fireworks. I'm told a statement should be coming out from DHS fairly soon, but you know how it is, Sean. Anytime anybody hears about any sort of use of force with ICE, protesters are going to start showing up, and I'm being told by sources that ICE needs some help out there and that tires on ICE vehicles are currently being slashed as more protesters are showing up at the scene. Working the phone, literally texting right now as I'm talking to you, and we'll get more details as soon as possible.
Bill Melugin, I appreciate you breaking that story. Any new details, we'll go back to you. Let me go back to Sarah Carter. You know, Sarah, the issue of involving Venezuelans, this has been a sore point for President Trump, and that is Tren de Aragua, drug cartels, narco-terrorism, leading to the capture of Nicolas Maduro. But these are the people that have been allowed in unvetted. This is why you are covering this story for us down at the border so often. So obviously, this is not somebody we want in this country. Obviously, they're doing their job, but they are impeded. To what extent, when you talk to these ICE officers, and they're on the ground every day, and they're putting their lives on the line, and they're enforcing the law, you know, has the rhetoric of the likes of Governor Tim Walz calling them Gestapo, or others calling them Nazi, or fascists, or terrorists, is that impeding their ability to do their job?
Well, I absolutely. But I can tell you this, Sean, as for the ICE agents, they are so grateful to be working for a president, finally, that has their back, unlike the Biden administration, which did not, and the Obama administration. And remember, we covered the border during both administrations. And I can tell you this, that under President Trump, the ICE agents, they feel like they have a president that is going to have their back. We do have their back. The White House has their back. We are going to be there for them. Look, President Trump is no longer allowing the cartels to operate with impunity. That is what was happening under President Biden. We had a border, and Sean, you're aware of this, even when we went into Guatemala, when I covered the story from Guatemala from the Honduran border, and we could see the people pouring across the border. There was a lot of evidence that these folks, these TDA members that were coming across, people that were coming across, even across our southern border, were being let out of the prisons in Venezuela, that they were full-fledged members of TDA. These are really terrible people that have committed the most atrocious crimes. We are trying to get them out of the country. Governor Tim Walz is lying to the public when he acts like we're just going after innocent people on the streets. No, this is the worst of the worst. We're trying to get them out of our communities so they will get the child predators out. We're getting the drug traffickers out. We're saying to the cartels, by the way, not just in Venezuela with the example that we've shown with Nicolas Maduro. It's like we showed an example to the rest of the world, but we're letting the cartels in Mexico know, that Sinaloa cartel, that is Nuevo Generacion, all the cartels that have been operating with impunity. You are next. And President Trump has made that very clear. His message directly to them is your days are over. You will no longer sleep another restful night. We're coming after you. So we are not going to stop our operations as a whole of government to get these folks off our streets. We are going to continue to do that, and we are going to continue to get the truth out to the American people. But let me say this. God help anybody on the left that continues with this rhetoric, because what this leads to is violence, and it leads to damage on both sides, both for the people that are there being told to go out and protest by Governor Tim Walz, who thankfully will no longer be governor, and to our, more importantly, to our men and women in blue who are out there every single day sacrificing and putting their lives on the line with families back at home. You know, I pray for them every single day. We are going to back them every single day that they're out there doing this really tough job, and we're going to defend them.
You know, Sarah, I can't think of anybody better to be drug czar. This has been a passion of yours for as long as I have known you, which is a long time. We've even been to seminars together with family members that lost loved ones because of drug overdoses and addiction. Please stay with us. New drug czar, Sarah Carter. Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.